What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Fishing Coach YouTube channel. I'm Jimmy Easterling, also go by Coach E. Guys, and today we're going to talk about something I just heard on a live stream between Todd Castledine and Matt Steffen. And it goes to a video I made on Bass Fishing Declassified earlier this year. The video I made, it was Fish for the 41%. It went off the Toledo Bend Bass Behavior Study. There's been a few videos on it, some great videos out there. But I took the data and went and applied it this last year. That 41% is, there was 6 classifications, okay, for types of structures fish hang on for most of the year, okay? It's a big old behavior study. But out of those structures, the flats was 41%. And the other 5 structures was 59%. Those structures with points, channel swing banks, drains, but the flats held the fish for the longest point of the year, and the flats are probably the less fished, and that was the whole point. The less thing out there, a lot of it sometimes might not be on topographic maps, some of it might not be the best thing you see with your eyes. It takes more time to find the fish on these flats. And guys, so I made a whole video on that. We're about to talk about it more and how it relates to the winter, okay, and how it relates to the winter bass. As Todd Castledine and Matt was just talking, Matt was asking Todd, that's my little one. Wait a second, I'm going to let him come in. Matt asked Todd a simple question. And guys, you know, Todd Castledine is probably one of the best Texas anglers, South Texas anglers in the tournaments. I mean, his winning in tournaments and his successful speaks for it, okay? But Matt was asking Todd about fishing Rayburn in the winter and kind of how they relate to stuff. And Todd couldn't get too much on it because he has tournaments coming up. And Todd, I mean, for all, I don't even know Todd. Todd might be dang lying what he's talking about on the channel, right? Because some of you guys might be like he's lying. So, but Todd said bass in the winter, the ones that are at like kind of, what I took out of it, obvious areas, your obvious spots that are you can find on maps or you know this or this, those are the ones harder to catch. Pretty simple. But the ones that you find in the inobvious, which take time, are easy to catch. And that was kind of where you left it. And they were kind of relating to talking about grass, Rayburn and the grass. And Matt was just asking them, do they school up? And they talked about live scope, and we just kind of went with it. But Todd shared how if you find those ones that are in areas that are not pressured as much, and you find the right group of them, of course you're going to do good in tournaments. And that goes to the 41% of that Todd Driscoll study on Toledo Bend on the flats. Now, I'm not saying Todd Castledine's fishing flats. I'm just saying that I learned from my experience, if you do find those fish that are in those inobvious areas and you do go fish them, they are easier to catch because they are fished less than other areas. Alabama rig right now is getting thrown by everybody, and of course those fish see it a lot. Now, if you find an area where those fish have not been fished for and you throw the Alabama rig at them, they're going to eat easier, okay? It just is what it is. But guys, there's been some fish I've been fishing on some lakes. Not fished much because I fished so many lakes, but there's a couple of lakes where I go check holes that I know have fish, and I can now see that they've been fished 4 times, okay? It's just they've been fished and thrown at. If y'all hear my little one, it's okay. He's just hanging out. All right? James, you want to say hi? You don't want to say hi. Okay. All right, so with that, on the 41, we're about to go to the computer, and we're going to talk about trying to find these inobvious areas and what I look for. For example, this year, not this year, January, I've only fished 2 times with the snow on the ground, and we had a little one. But in December, I caught my biggest bass of December at Lake Hamilton, a lake I don't have much history on. I actually hate Lake Hamilton. I've only fished it for 7 hours since I have moved back to Central Arkansas in the Hot Springs region. And I caught my biggest bass, which was over 7 pounds, in one of these less obvious areas, doing by methods that I kind of like to go by, fishing for that 41%. Now, this fish, for example, I caught wasn't on a flat. There was a point. That's an obvious point, guys. Obvious. And I just idled 200 yards down it to where people don't fish. And I saw other fish on my 2D sonar. Dropped the live scope. I saw this fish through and caught it. First cast. And so we're going to now go to 2 lakes on the computer, and we're going to kind of go over what I kind of like to look for, maybe help you guys out in the winter, finding some bass that are less pressured. Okay, guys, I'm looking at a lake right now. I'm going to try to have the video here and you look at this at the same time. I know I've done both the talking into the deal, but just maybe I'm going to give this a shot. So, guys, I just picked Bull Shoals Lake. Never been on Bull Shoals Lake before. I picked Bull Shoals Lake because it's not flat. It's a highland flood control reservoir. Not much flatness to it. Okay, so that whole theory of out of the 6 structures, 41% of them are flats. You know, it was done on Toledo Bend, which was a lowland reservoir, which it is more flatter than this. So I did this for my guys that have lakes similar to this. There are 1,000 of points on this lake. 1,000. So I did this for it to be hard for me, kind of how I like to kind of fish in style. Now this lake, of course, guys, if you're watching, I know with the winter, summer, anytime, you know, current's going to be a factor on this lake. It's 6 foot low right now. It's deep in a lot of areas. I know there's so much to this lake that's different than other lakes, guys, okay? Definitely them lakes in Texas, like Rayburn, and, you know, lakes I fish too that are lowland. I fish in Texas a lot, but how to kind of apply this to this lake. But I did this because it's harder, because there's a lot of points, thousands of points, and you guys that fish this place know how they kind of set up, but there always are fish, I think, harder to find that we haven't always found, okay? Definitely a bit, and this is a big lake too. I mean, it's a big lake. So I'm just going to pick, you know, 2 little things right off the bat. So I'm going to go up here. You're looking at my screen right now, I think. So I'm going to go up here. Up here in this area, up this way. So I actually first looked at this on Google Earth. All right, so then I'm just going to, I guess, pick a little area. I guess, I kind of looked at this. Here we go. So, for example, there are kind of 2 right here. So, like, right here, just coming down. Right here, and now this is for me just looking without the topographic map first. So, I'm thinking the channel kind of goes here, because that channel is kind of right here where you see my little hand at. So, right here is going to be your high percentage spot. Okay, let's go to this now. Is that it right there? It's right here. So, here, this is kind of your high percentage spot. Channel up here, everybody's going to fish it. Okay, and that's going to be where could be some bass feeding there at times, all right? So, whatever. There's so much I can break down on that. I'm going to go over here and, look in this area. I'm just going to go over here and idle, use my 2D down imaging, guys, and then if I don't see anything, I move on. There could be some fish on the bottom, could be some fish suspended, and, there might be times where the fish are relating in certain areas, but that's where I'm going to kind of look. Another easy example, and the topographics showed it. This is a channel swing rock bank, channel swing point, high percentage. I'm saying there's been a lot of fish caught right there, okay? All times of year at times. I mean, specific lot of fish caught. So the people are going to fish right here, fish this. I'm going to go over here and try to look. I'm going to go over here and graph, just kind of graph around and see if I see anything. Now, though, when I look at it here, there's a drain there. I didn't know there's a drain there, okay? But now that I know there's a drain there, I'm going to, there could be fish in between these drains. There could be fish over here too, okay? Now remember, one thing that I've learned, even on a flood control lake that I been fishing the last 6 years, smaller than this, I always kind of got told, guys, when fishing, follow the river channel, follow the creek channel. And then, guys, that's true. But when you're on this big of water right here, like the bigger sections, guys, they can be over here. Just going to tell you that right now, okay? They can, all right? Now, when you get back in your creeks, get back in there, I think it becomes more of a thing of following that channel. But like right here, like I said, I'll come over here and graph this, because everybody's going to come over here where this channel's coming by, fish these points. Not many people going over here. Just a thought, okay? Just a thought. Now, let's kind of go back towards Main Lake. There's something out here. So, like, here we go. This is another teaching point. So, like, right here, we're on the Main Lake now. I'm going to go to the Google Earth. Go back here to the Google Earth. So, like, right here. Bull Shoals Lake. I guess I can back that off. Okay. So, by looking at it, you see, my guess, here goes that channel where my cursor's at, and then it kind of bends and goes back. Okay, I'm going to look over here. This is where I'm going to go look over here. Now, if I look at it this way, okay, there's actually a lot going on over here. So, like I said, there's that main river channel. There's a little fish icon, channel swing over there. Right here, there's a lot going on where I would kind of look to fish. You see the road beds are off the bat. I don't know, I don't fish this lake. Don't know if that's a true road bed or old road bed, or if it's just a dummy deal on avionics. Sometimes these things show up and they might be washed out or whatever, or beat up. But I'm going to come over here and look. Here's an easy, obvious high spot. Okay, right there, obvious high spot. But I'm going to kind of look over here and kind of meander around this. You also have a drain right here. So you have a lot of you have a drain, high spot, that high, so you have some stuff there that can hold fish and bait fish. And two, now guys, with this also it helps. You know, one thing too with it is if you see bait fish in the area, that's great. There's a good chance there's bass. But if you don't see bait fish and then you think you see bass, or if you're unsure, I would move on and go on, okay? Not everybody's good enough, I know, with electronics to know if they're bass or not bass. James, my little one's right here. Don't tackle the dog. So with that, if you see bait fish like here in this area kind of floating around or near the bottom, there's a good chance there are bass nearby. So that's just kind of what I would do. Now let's just go pick a whole nother end of the lake. Like I said, this lake, man, so much. Let's go up here to where it's shallower, flatter. Like that right there, don't even know. That's like obvious, shallow area, flooded timber, road bed. That's probably some juice there. This right here, a long, big old flat point. I'm saying this is probably something obvious that everybody fishes, okay? Because that's, once again, on this lake, it's like the only thing up here in this area. But now here we go, guys. Here, like, this looks great. There's some juice here. Probably some people have cracked them right here. But you see this point, it gets shallow, row bed, bridge potentially up here on this flat point. How would you go target if all this was an obvious area? Like I mentioned earlier, obvious point, what would you go do? Okay, guys, I would now, I know a lot of times you hear like edge, like I think this is how I look at this. Fish can be on the edge of the points to where it could be deeper. They're going to be feeding up there on top. I would even probably start right here on this inside edge and just try to go around and see if there's bait fish in this area and see what the depth is, and then go around before I go up on top of it, okay? Like I said, this is hard here because this is, you know, this one is kind of hard. I would then go up here on the inside and go to about that point right there. Now, like here, okay, I would start off over here and graph around this whole outside part, okay, in this deeper section. Now, as I'm graphing, my side imaging can be up there on that point, okay, and can be looking for the bait fish or brush piles or whatever other covers there as well. Before I go up there on top of it. And then I would kind of, you know, that road bed goes down. There could be some old rock or stuff off the road bed as well. So that's what I kind of do there. And like going over here to this one, okay, right here, another high percentage point in the area. If I was to go fish it, I would probably try to check this inside edge here first before I go up here on more of the obvious edges. Okay, guys, I know I just did this one lake right here. Stop real quick. I know I just did this one lake right here. I could probably do more lakes like this. If you guys like this type of video, I'm just trying right now, guys. Think of some good ideas, videos to do while there's snow on the ground and while I can't get out and fish. I do have a video coming out tomorrow, whenever you're watching this, for my last on the water fishing trip. And then hopefully here soon, guys, we'll have some more fishing trips, more content for you guys on the channel. Appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.